guys, it's Steve here from Bloom Audio. Today we've got the Sennheiser HD660S. Now the original Sennheiser HD600 came out about 25 years ago. There have been a number of different 600 series models throughout the years, the 650, the 6XX, and the 660S is the most recent, having been released in 2017. So with an array of new headphones coming out every year, can the HD600 series maintain relevance? Let's take a closer look. The basic HD600 design has remained pretty intact over the years, with the elliptical ear cups here, basic headband design. It's a mix of metal and plastic, feels pretty well engineered, and a sturdy, well-built headphone. You can see the band adjustment here has a sort of clicky adjustment that comes out. Now this does have a pretty good amount of clamp force overall, although that can tend to soften a little bit over time as it bends and molds to your head. The pads here are velour, good soft feeling pad which helps mitigate some of that clamp force in there. And you also have this headband pad. I found these generally really comfortable to wear for long periods of time. That weight is well managed and balanced, and it's a really lightweight headphone to begin with. So in terms of cables, you get the standard 6.3 millimeter cable. Now this uses a special 2-pin connection that is a sort of a Sennheiser standard here. So we get the 6.3 and this somewhat famous Sennheiser adapter. This is like my favorite 6.3 to 3.5 adapter. I have one that just kind of floats around that I use on other headphones as well. And we get the extra bonus in this one is the 4.4 millimeter cable. Again, these are pretty long cables, so they'll work with a bit of length. Honestly, a little longer than I would have liked. And it's a pretty basic rubber-coated copper cable here. Now, 660S is a dynamic driver headphone. You can actually see the drivers here through the back. It has a fairly high impedance at 150 ohms, but previous HD600 series headphones have been 600 ohms, so this is actually a bit more sensitive. And that higher sensitivity, coupled with the 4.4 millimeter cable, means you're going to have a better experience with a broader range of sources on the 660S, and that's a nice little evolution of the Sennheiser design here. HD660S continues in this tradition of Sennheiser headphones that offer a sort of neutral reference tuning with really strong imaging characteristics for the price. Now, each of the 600 series headphones have some different characteristics. The 600 maybe being a little brighter, the 650 having a little more bass, a little more vocal presence, and the 660S perhaps being the most relaxed of the group. In the bass, you get a tight mid-bass with a pretty good amount of punch there, but it doesn't fully extend into the sub-bass. So where you have, listening to older recordings, a lot of jazz and classic rock, you are going to get that nice hit from the bass drum, but you're not going to get that deep sub-bass extension that's going to be more useful in a lot of more modern electronic music and that sort of thing. The mids are the real strength here, offering really strong detail, clarity, just excellent layering of instruments, and most importantly, this really natural, lifelike sound to the mid-range. Now in the upper mids, the vocals are going to be set back a little bit, really balanced well in the mix. So they don't have that really intimate vocal sound of some of the Sennheiser headphones in this series, but just a really well-balanced placement of the vocals. The treble extends well, but it's a pretty neutral treble that gives you just a little bit of extra air, and I found it to be largely non-fatiguing, well-balanced there as well. HD660S provides a really great sound stage. There's a good width to it, and within that, a really good placement and positioning, strong imaging, and really a holographic feeling of the instruments, of the weight and the placement of instruments and voices in that image. The one problem, it didn't feel fully three-dimensional to me. It kind of feels like it comes out to about here, and you lost a little bit of that sense of the true center in the image, but otherwise, really strong, nice, wide soundstage and solid imaging. HIFIMAN has been a favorite brand for a lot of headphone aficionados for their really strong technical performance and a lot of their headphones really having a great price point considering that level of performance that you get. They recently updated the Ananda with their new stealth magnets technology, which is supposed to improve some of those technical aspects of the headphone. So we wanted to see, how does the HD660S stack up against the latest in planar technology, this also being a dynamic driver headphone. Both share a similar core tuning, a largely detail, clarity, focused sound, a little extra air at the top, and a little bit of roll-off in the bass. Now, in the bass, Ananda does have a stronger extension there, especially the stealth version seems to have improved that extension over the original Ananda. So you get a stronger bass and more slam out of the Aria versus the tighter punch, less depth in the HD660S. Now in the mid-range, the overall sort of tuning is similar, but HD660S has a stronger sense of cohesion there, and to me really sounds more natural, especially with acoustic instruments. That mid-range presentation, I tend to prefer the 660S. As you move into the treble, again, it's a pretty similar tuning. I felt there was a little more resolution coming out of the 660S, especially the big thing I noticed in was cymbals, where these felt a little bit more crisp, and Ananda could be a little bit splashy at times with the cymbals. In the imaging, again, HD660S is pretty wide, but what Ananda did is really claim a better sense of three-dimensionality, a better sense of that whole picture all the way around your head and extending in front as well. Now, there's some things back and forth. There was a little more separation with the Ananda as well, a little bit more weight with the HD660S. But overall, I'd give the edge here to the Ananda just because of that really more fully three-dimensional feeling in the imaging. Overall, the Ananda is stronger for a lot of more modern music, pop, electronic-driven recordings that really utilize that extra bit of bass there. So you get that full sub-bass and a stronger slam out of the Ananda. HD660S was stronger for me with things like jazz, classical, and even more modern recordings that are largely acoustic-based. The 660S gives you that more natural sound and almost maybe a little bit more emotional, even though this still is largely a more reference headphone. It did feel like I got a little bit more emotion out of some of those acoustic performances in the 660S over the Ananda. But largely, it's going to really come down to the specific genres you're looking to listen to, that extra bass and three-dimensionality of the Ananda, or the more natural sounding timbre of the HD660S. Not too much has changed about the HD600 series over the last 25 years. HD660S makes some subtle tweaks, one of the most important being that improved sensitivity that's going to make this play well with a wider range of sources. But ultimately, what's really keeping it going is that classic sound that continues to stand the test of time. Thanks for watching. You can check out the HD660S and a lot of other great headphones at bloomaudio.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll be back soon with more hi-fi personal audio content.